Good morning, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world. You've tuned in to the Mac City Morning Show. I am your host, Elliot Pierre. This show is a little laid back today because our guest has a brace on her leg, so we're kicking up our feet. We're going to start our show off the same way we start every show, though, with gratitude. I know you could be doing a million other things with your time, and the fact that you're here spending with us means the world to me. On that note, Tanner, hit him with the intro.
How's she cutting, me loves? You're listening to the Mac City Morning Show.
All right, we're going to get started. It's going to be a good one. I like this new setup of me sitting with my feet on the table. I don't introduce our guests, as you already know, so we're going to swing the camera over there. And can you please introduce yourself and tell the world who you are?
Thank you so much. My name is Kamara Kapor. I'm a teacher here in Fort McMurray. I've been here for a decade now, and I absolutely love it. I call Fort McMurray home, and I'm proud to be here today and excited to be on your show.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So you've been here for 10 years now. What school did you go to? University prior to getting here?
Oh, prior to getting here, I was at the University of Windsor, so I'm from Windsor, Ontario, but I spent much of my youth in Detroit, and I drove 8 Mile every day to work for several years.
Really?
I absolutely loved it. Detroit's a great town, big part of my heart.
Okay.
And but there was a job opportunity here in Fort McMurray, so like the rest of the world, moved up here and thought I was going to stay for 1 or 2 years, but of course, you fall in love and stay.
Yeah, so this is where you met your husband, is it?
No, my husband came with me.
Oh, he followed you?
Yeah, we just fell in love with the city.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear this love story of Fort McMurray. So I have had the pleasure of actually going to Detroit myself. I got flown out there for business one time, spent a week. It was epic.
Yes, it's an amazing place.
Amazing. And I was there maybe 3 years ago, so relatively recently. So there was a lot of stigma, in my head anyways, what Detroit was. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was nothing like I thought it was going to be.
I would say the same of Fort McMurray. If you look at the way it's portrayed on the world stage, it is a wasteland. It looks like we've torn the world apart and we're killing it. And of course, it's not the case. Here, it's beautiful. We have trails and the place where 3 rivers meet and the wildlife. It's nothing like it's portrayed in the world media. And Detroit's exactly the same. It's always about the crime. And it's not that those things don't exist. It's just that's not the entire picture. There's so much more. And it's very beautiful and artistic. I spent a decade working at the Detroit Opera House.
Oh.
And it's one of the most beautiful opera houses, I think, in the whole world and a great place to be. So,
what did you do at the Opera House?
I sang. I was a performer. I had a career as an opera singer for 10 years before I became a teacher. So.
Okay, well, listen. This is my favorite part about this show. I don't know so many things about the guests that show up. So let's hear about this. Okay. You're an opera singer. That's not a genre of music that most people get into. So you can start from the get-go. Let's talk about how you got interested in opera and just how
it all started. Yeah. It really started when I was in preschool. I was very shy and I didn't have any friends. My mom wanted to find a way to help me get out there, get on the stage, the world stage, and be able to speak with people.
Okay.
So she put me into acting classes and modeling, which then, of course, led to taking music lessons, singing, and piano. And I absolutely fell in love with the art form. And I just spent my youth taking lessons, much the way your former guest talked about her lessons with piano and singing, Arishi Vasal. And so I did that as a youth, and I did decide at 18 to pursue music studies at university, which then led me into learning about the art form of opera. And my teacher was, in fact, in The Phantom of the Opera, which is a musical.
Right.
But he was one of the lead performers in that in Toronto and came to Windsor each week to teach the lessons and went back. So through him, I learned a lot about the business and went on from there.
Wow. And so when you're a professional opera singer, you're getting paid for this.
Yes.
How do you even apply for that? Like, I know nothing about the arts. People think I do because I make videos and stuff. Listen, I'm a businessman. I just happen to be able to talk in front of a camera. So what is the process to becoming a professional opera singer?
It's not that different than what you see on TV and things like American Idol and those type of programs. You have to show up and audition. There's oftentimes thousands of people auditioning. You sometimes wait in line, sometimes you have a set time to arrive.
Okay.
You show up, you give them your heart and soul, and then you wait for them to select you. And
Okay.
it can be very trying. It's a very difficult career choice.
Right.
You have to be able to handle taking rejection quite often. You maybe get 10% of the jobs you apply for, and that's a good career.
Right.
So you're putting yourself out there and putting yourself out there, and you're thrilled when you do get the work, and you show up and do the best that you can and entertain the
There
people
we
in front of you.
go. Very cool. So now when you got a gig like yourself, is this like a full-time thing that you're going in regularly, or how does that work when you're like at an opera house?
Yes, I was very lucky to work. The first year I was there, I was an apprentice. So as an apprentice, you're in every show, either in the chorus or in a small role. I was dancing as well back then. I was a lot younger. And so the first year as an apprentice was amazing. You're paid almost nothing, but you're there from 10 in the morning till 10 at night. And I remember I would sit under the director's table. I'd sit at his feet and I would watch everything that was happening. And it was just so exciting to be part of this huge art form, and one that most people really don't ever get to experience. I often hear people say, I hate opera. I said, well, which ones have you been to?
Right.
And the answer is none. Well, then how can you hate it if you haven't actually tried it? You don't know what it is until you experience it. So that experience of sitting under the table at the director's feet and watching everything that was happening, really, I fell in love with it. And so I stayed with the opera company for 10 more years in the chorus, and doing small roles as appropriate. And then I was also working in their outreach programs, which meant we got to travel. So I traveled to Ontario, Michigan, Ohio, Kansas, and we did
Wow.
shows at various locations to bring opera to the people.
That is so cool.
It really was an amazing experience.
So Detroit Opera, you're there. It's 10 years.
Mhm.
How did you hear about Fort McMurray? How did you make your way here?
Well, to be honest, my husband is also a singer, so we met at the Opera House. We were in a show together.
Okay.
And so we were both looking for work. And when you are both performers, you're often traveling in different directions. You're in different shows. You're apart. And so we had this opportunity to work for the Las Vegas Sands Corporation, singing in a show at their casino
Okay.
together. So we thought this would be great. We could work together, sing together every day. It was a steady gig, and it was for 6 full months. So let's do this together. So we went to Las Vegas, and there we rehearsed the show. And then we went over to Macau, China, where they were opening up their brand new hotel.
Okay.
So the new Venetian Hotel, and of course this was over 12 years ago, but it was just brand new hotel and casino, and we got to do a show there every day. And we were so excited, and we loved it. We had such a great time that after 6 months, we renewed the contract for another 6 months, and then another, and then another. So after 2 years, we finally decided that it was time to come back to North America, but what did we want to do next? We loved the opportunity to work together and not be traveling in different directions. So we decided to both become teachers.
Okay.
And so we both went back to school. We had
Oh,
we taught our
wow.
degrees previously, but we went back and did a second bachelor degree in education so that we could become music teachers, sharing our love and passion of singing and acting, but then work together somewhere. And the first place to offer us a job was Fort McMurray, Alberta.
Awesome. I
Yes.
love this story. I love this. I love doing this show for stories like that. The reason this inspires me, and hopefully people at home, is when you're a child, more often than not, your parents tell you there's no money in the arts. You can't do it. It's not going to be feasible for you. And I talk to kids at high schools and colleges about like, hey, I do something very untraditional, obviously. And my marketing companies, it's different. And I tell kids like, listen, you can do other things. And you are a testament to, listen, you can do other things.
Absolutely. And in fact, my husband, even more so. When he went to university, he was given a scholarship, a music scholarship. So he had to sing in the choir and take some music classes. And they
Right.
wanted him to be a music major. But his thought was, the arts, I can't take that degree. It'll get me nowhere. He said, I'll do a math degree. So he has a degree in mathematics. After he finished, the next thing you know, he did work an office job for a while, didn't love it. His heart was in the arts, so he came to the Opera House and ended up working for them, and the
Right.
rest of the story. When we went to do our degrees in education, they accepted me immediately because they don't have enough music applicants. There's not enough people who are available to teach music. So I was in instantly. With his math degree, they didn't take him right away.
Oh.
They said, we have so many people with math degrees. We don't need another math teacher.
There we go.
So it was very difficult for him to get in. Now, he did, and we ended up being in the same cohort. We had every class together, we did all our assignments together, and had a wonderful time at Teachers College.
Yeah.
And then, of course, came here and taught together at Merck.
There we go.
Yeah.
And now you're at Westwood.
I actually don't teach at Westwood, no. I left the teaching profession a few years ago
Okay.
in order to pursue a Master of Music, and my husband did as well. We left Fort McMurray. It was actually right at the evacuation time.
Right.
And we thought, well, it's a good clean break. We'll both just leave. We got into U of A, and we would do our masters together, and we were going to leave Fort McMurray for good.
Okay.
But we had students like Arushi Vasal and a number of other students that we just adored. And at that time, we were going to pass them on to the other music teachers in town.
Right.
But at the time of the evacuation, many of them did not come back. And there were no teachers for our students to go to. And there were students who needed a teacher.
Right.
So with that need in Fort McMurray, what we did was we went to school in Edmonton Tuesday to Friday. We came back Friday night to teach here Saturday, Sunday.
Okay.
And went back to Edmonton for the week. So we lived in both locations for about 2.5 years to complete our Master of Music degrees. So we both have master's degrees now. We're excited about that. And my husband is now teaching at Frank Spraggins.
Okay.
And coming back, the open position for me was grade 1 at LC Yannick. So I'm now for the first time teaching the littles.
Oh, how's that transition going for you?
Very difficult, actually.
No doubt.
I'm used to having conversations like this with teenagers.
Yes.
With little ones, I have to change my vocabulary and, put Band-Aids on a lot more.
That's right.
So
That's hilarious. Man, you and your husband are adventurous. Okay, I'm going to get lost and ask you tons of questions. This show is timed, so we got to move on. Tanner, we have a segment called the Mac City Minute. Tanner is going to ask you some questions. Best of luck to you. Tanner, hit her with the Mac City Minute.
Question number 1. What was your first acting job?
my very first acting job would be with the Michigan Opera as my apprentice role. And I actually played the role of a prostitute. So at 17, that was a bit risque.
Question number 2. What is your favorite moment from being a teacher in Fort McMurray?
Well, last year I was subbing, so it was actually as a substitute teacher. I finished my degree in November and subbed through June, and I had a position in early learning. So I had a 3.5-year-old. When we went to the gym, said, "Miss Parr, I can't participate in gym today. I got a bum knee." At 3.5.
That's hilarious.
Question number 3. How is Detroit similar to Fort McMurray?
Detroit, a lot of rock music. I mean, the rock music in this town is fantastic. You go to any of the clubs and bars, there's just great live music, and Detroit's known for its great live Detroit Rock City, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's a great place. So definitely the nightlife, I would actually say, is amazing here in Fort McMurray. You wouldn't expect it, the end of the road as we are. Absolutely. I love that. And good food, great drinks.
There you go.
Yeah, food and drink.
Question number 4. What is your favorite opera you've been in?
Oh, that I've been in. That's harder than just ones I've seen. Favorite opera that I've been in probably be Faust. The story of Faust is always compelling. I often wonder, if the devil came to me, would I sign the contract? And that was a fun one to be in. I played Mephistopheles the devil. I played one of his little adventurous devils. So I actually had a skin-colored unitard with parts painted on, so I looked naked on stage.
And your final question. Who has the better Coney dog, Lafayette or American?
Lafayette.
There you go. Those have been your 5 questions.
That's Detroit.
Where did that come from?
I know people in certain places, and I said, what's the most Detroit question I can ask her?
That's look at you.
Absolutely.
This guy with his questions.
The Coney Islands in Detroit, bar none, are the best in the world. Like, they're any of them you go to, but Lafayette, that's the place.
Okay, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm just blown away with this episode. You are great to chat with, and Tanner's hidden up with some like gems of questions. Good job, Tanner. So I have no idea what opera you're talking. I've never honestly been to see an opera in my life. Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about the story of this. Would you sign the contract with the devil?
Oh, so Faust is a famous novel.
Okay.
So you might want to get that on an audio book and listen to it. I'm sure it'll be amazing.
I am.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's a classic story. The story of Faust. He wants the girl. He wants the riches. He wants everything. So the devil comes to him and he signs a contract to give up his soul
Okay.
to obtain the things that he wants. But when he gets the girl, for example, he has her, but he hasn't really won her love. It's artificial. And so he never ends up getting what he wants, and the devil does take his soul.
Okay, well, listen, I'm going to be driving to the mountains tomorrow. I'm going to download this book and listen to it. Sounds very interesting. Well, this has just been lovely. I have to say, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know it's impromptu. You're killing it. You did a great job.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, please come back again and again. I know there's so many other topics and questions that I want to ask about, but the show is 20 minutes for a reason. It's so people can come back again and again and again. And I've met your husband before, so come and sit in that seat because he's an interesting character as well.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. On that note, Fort McMurray, Wood Buffalo, and the rest of the world, we are done. This has been a banger of an episode. I know I say that a lot, but this one was really, really good. So thank you very much for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Hopefully you're having a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
I said this. That's another Mac City Morning Show done.
It's so ballistic!
Talk about quenching your ugly thirst.